I'm always very surprised that you want to come on here, if I'm dead honest. Maybe I just don't think much of this podcast.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's my limiting beliefs.
No, bro. It's lekker to be on it.
I appreciate
There's
that.
a lot
bro.
of like, you can do like TV stuff, which I can do, and radio stuff, but it's nice to like just speak your mind sometimes when you speak to people. Like, we have a conversation.
Yeah, we do.
And I think a lot of people just forget that you, me, we just humans.
I think, and that is interesting when you see, okay, you're obviously a lot more in the public eye because you know, on TVs and people, I don't know how it's been for you because obviously, I mean, recently, I think it was last year, you went to the UK and you were part of the camp.
Fury's camp.
Fury's camp.
Was
it last year?
Yeah, bro. 2023, December. No, man. It was this year.
Was this
beginning
year?
of this year, yeah.
And that's, I mean, he's the one of, currently at least, the most iconic heavyweight.
Yeah.
And you obviously rubbing shoulders with him, and then you obviously get to see that also equally so, he's also as much a human.
Of course. No, and that's the thing. I think people forget that we're all just humans. I think the key is like mastering the understanding of humans.
And then that obviously also helps in the ring.
Exactly.
Seeing that, you know, if you're tired, that guy's tired.
Exactly.
If you're struggling to breathe, he's struggling to breathe. And probably more so because you know you've left nothing on the table, and that when you're in the ring, you...
That's the thing. I think like the greatest success in people, or not just athletes, let's just say people, is people who understand the human being. Like if you can master understanding a human being, when I say master per se, like master is a very relative term. But if you can understand human beings and understand people better and life better, that just like is the upward trajectory for your success, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also understanding, because there's so much to boxing, to a career, there's promoters, there's, you know, the fans, there's sponsors, there's your opponents. You do need to have a full range of understanding of people, not just understanding your opponent and understanding maybe their mindset in the ring. It's also, okay, I need to fill these seats for these fights. And that's obviously, you definitely fill the most seats in the country, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. I think when it comes to boxing, yes. And in MMA, obviously, Dricus is the big dog. And in combat sports as a whole, it's unparalleled what he's achieved. So kudos to Dricus. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. When it comes to boxing and putting asses in seats and the viewership, you know, people can say what they want. I think we've done our utmost best to push those numbers as high as possible with the opportunity we've been given.
Has there ever been a time in your career where you just like, I just want to fight. I don't want to have to focus on the fans and focus on the promotion and focus on all these things. Like, I'm here because I am a student of, you know, boxing.
Look, all the time, you know, but being a fighter comes with great responsibility and great duties. And your duty as a fighter is to put the asses in seats. Your duty as a fighter is to entertain the fans, because that's what makes your share price go up. So if you just want to be the average guy, then don't worry about filling seats. Don't worry about the viewership. Don't worry about being entertaining. But then you're the average. And I've always strived to be better than the average.
You obviously went to CARES, which is an above average school where they promote, you know, excellence. When would you say was that first time in your life where you know, just, I don't know, had a feeling, or you had something in you where it was just like, you know, I don't want the average life. I want more for myself and for my family or whoever.
It's hard to say an exact moment or an exact time, but I know that I was given a chance when I was at CARES in my grade 10 year, standard 8. In my grade 10 year, I was a bit of a problematic child. And one of the heads of the school came to me. In fact, he came to me because my mother was called into the school to be like, listen, your boy's on his final warning. You know, not like be malicious, but just being a problem, you know. But if I look back and I think now as a parent, I understand why I had the problems. You know, I didn't have a father figure in my life. You know, I was always trying to be hard and be more, do more, but in the wrong way. And that was a turning point in my schooling career, but as a turning point in my life, because this guy, he gave me a chance. He sat me down, and his name's Mr. Thorne. He's still at the school. And he said to me, you have all the potential in the world, potential to be a rugby player, potential to get full sports colors for athletics, potential to be a leader of the school. Don't fuck it up. And I sat there as a 16-year-old boy. I said, why is he telling me this? And then I said to myself, I want to be those things. When he told me that, I said, I can be those things. Because I was always just fringe level guy, like playing average rugby at school. I wouldn't say average rugby, but it's very competitive at a school like Cairns, So I was just going about playing sport.
You were good without max effort.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. And when he said those things to me, he said, you can become a Reds rugby player. You can get full sports colors. You can get that academics badge. You can get that prefix badge. I thought to myself, I want to do this. And that was the turning point, because up until that point, I wouldn't say I was a fuck up, but I was a tyrant in a way, trying to be rebellious, never showed teachers respect, because you think you're cool. You're going through that transitional phase of puberty and you're becoming a man and you're in an all boys school. You got to have this bravado about yourself. I just sat down and I said, that's not me. I want to go on and achieve. And that was a turning point. So if you dissect it like that, I look back and I remember that moment in my schooling career. And I'm very thankful for that teacher, Simon Thorne. If he ever listens to this, I don't think I've ever told him this. But he sat me down when my mother was called to the school. My mother was a very hard lady, Jess, being a single mom. She sat down in that meeting and she said, expel him. I'm done with his shit. The teacher then said, Simon said to her, please, Mrs. Lorena, we don't want to expel him. We just, we're bringing you to this meeting. He's caused a little bit of problems. The problem was fighting at the time with a couple of matrics. And it kind of was an overkill what happened. But he sat me down and he basically said, when my mom had left, he said, your mom wants you to be expelled. Your mom doesn't take shit. I don't want to expel you. But I'm telling you, you're throwing your career away. And when we say career at school, your school career away. But that sat with me because I realized that here's a man who just knows me as a scholar, but he saw so much more in me than I saw in myself, than anyone saw in me. And to this day, we communicate. If I need something, I reach out to him. When my family members or people of extended family want to get into the school, I phone him. He's just a phone call away. And I'm very appreciative of that man, because he kind of like he humbled me, but he made me realize you can do so much more with your life than be a little bullshit idiot, like most kids are at school these days.
And that's actually what I wanted, because one of my mates, he was at Cares a few years after you, and he just had I think it was his 10th year reunion, it would have been. And I was just thinking, because obviously I went to a co-ed private school, smaller scale.
Yeah.
They still obviously try to promote excellence, but...
What school was that, Jay?
Trinity House.
Okay,
yeah.
Good school.
Yeah, good school. But it's not Cares in terms of rugby and sport. And like we did well for the size of the school, but it wasn't, obviously I can't compare with a boys' school.
I think very different.
Yes.
But like a different school, different medium, but still a good private school.
Yes.
Let's call it a good private school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, they were strict, very strict, equally so as they would at Cares. Maybe they discipline slightly differently because there's girls around. But, how do you see the school now? Like, because obviously you've got kids in school. Obviously they're not maybe in high school yet, so the discipline would be different. But how do you think kids are today at school? Like, even if you look at Cares.
Look, I think the landscape and the world is forever changing. So I think the pupils, the scholars, and the schools need to kind of adapt to what they've been given or what they've been fed from the outside world. I think Cares will always maintain a high level of discipline, tradition. I think you're always going to have your good kids, your bad kids, the ones that flourish, ones that don't. But I think just in general, amongst the younger kids and the population that's at school, it's a lot softer than it was. I must be honest. Just with the way the world is moving, whether it's right or wrong, that's for you to decide, viewers to decide what their opinion of right or wrong is. My opinion is it has become a lot softer. So yes, Cares is still a good school. Would I send my son there? Most definitely. But I think it's changed from when I was there. But if I look back, old boys that came to see the school when I was there told me how it changed. So it's forever changing. The landscape's forever changing. But I think as long as you maintain those pillars of tradition, manners, ethos, you'll still have a good school. And I think the thing about Cares is obviously it's a government school or module C school, but it's government nonetheless. I think you got kids that come from all walks of life, wealthy families, very poor families. So it's nice. There's a happy medium at Cares that I don't think you get at certain private schools, and that's what will always make it a very good school.
Yeah, I think that exposure to people from different walks of life.
Exactly.
Because when I was there, or at Trinity, it's a private school. It's not on the same level as price range as like St. Stithians and those kind of schools, but it's still an expensive school,
Yeah.
being a private school. And there were people that had less money, that parents maybe struggled to pay their fees at the end of the month, whatever. But if you're there and if you haven't been kicked out due to lack of payment, you definitely are at least in the top 10% in the country, being able to send your kids. I mean, if we just look at the financial success in our country, most people can't, like the majority of people can't afford to pay for their kids' school fees.
Exactly.
So I was exposed to it to a degree, but I wasn't exposed to, people from large different walks of life.
Yeah.
I mean, we had people, maybe like 5 kids of color in my class.
Yeah.
It's definitely improved now where there's a wide range, maybe like I would say 40% people of color at Trinity now. So it's
Yeah.
definitely improved in terms of the exposure that you're going to see. But when I went to varsity, then it was, starkly different. And the contrast of who you exposed to at varsity compared to when you're in school. And I think, a school like Cares, when you're exposed to people from different walks of life, different family units, different incomes, it's definitely beneficial at a young age when your brain is still forming, when you're still, getting a perception, understanding of the world. Because when you just surrounded by people in the same echo chamber as you, we've seen that just with social media where people just follow the same people and they just get stuck in their own thoughts and their own echo chamber. Because like at Trinity, I could see that it was, I mean, my mom's still a teacher there, so I got nothing against the school, but I can see that it's this way and this is the only way. I can't speak for how it is now, but when I was there, it was, these are our beliefs, this is what we stick to, this is what we do. If you go against it, unfortunately, get out of the school. So in terms of discipline and those kind of things, it was great.
Yeah.
But in terms of understanding and maybe almost preparation for what the world is going to be like, it isn't maybe ideal to be in a school, even a rich, wealthy private school, where you aren't exposed to other people, because then you get to varsity and then you don't even understand what's going on.
Yeah, I think just having that, like you alluding to the fact that you said how diverse the school became over the years. I think Cares was always like that, and it's not even about color. It's just people from different walks of life, white kids, Indian kids, colored kids, black kids. It's different walks of life, wealthy African families, wealthy white families, very poor white families, very poor African families. That's what you get at Cares. But that kid's there for a reason. Yes, maybe he's a average rugby player and an average academic, but he's there for a reason. And I believe that when they select their pupils, the 140, whatever it is per grade, they're very specific on who they bring into the school based on not only demographics, but based on who you are, your family background, what you have to offer the school, to have that happy medium. And I think that's where Cares, I'm not going to say levels above the rest, because you got to be very careful. There's many, many good private schools in the country. There's very good government schools too. But I can only speak on behalf of Cares because I went there. But I think that's where they do it right, is having that happy medium of students from all walks of life. And I love my time there. But going back to that grade 10 story of mine, that turned my life around at that moment. But if I look back, that moment was a defining factor in who I am today.
And that's what is maybe overlooked, and maybe teachers don't see the actual impression that they can leave on kids. Most people, I mean, I remember, if you look at, I think 50 Cent was told he's never going to be successful by his teacher in school. So there's also the opposites of maybe people pushing and trying to succeed because of something they were told in a negative way. But in a positive way, it's amazing to see how the influence that teachers can have on students going forward. And also, having my mom as a teacher, seeing how much effort she puts into these kids and compared to what they get paid. It's actually, I mean, I got friends that are teaching, and to see how much effort they have to give these kids and how much time and attention, and
Exactly.
it's ridiculous. I mean, you've got youngsters.
Yeah.
You've seen how some teachers give effort, some people don't. And the ones that do, then maybe the kids come home and they tell you how cool this teacher is because they said this, and then they enjoy the subject that that teacher teaches.
Exactly. It's, every teacher's obviously got a different teaching style. Like every human in life has a different way they look at life and a different way they approach things. But I think teachers don't realize how influential they can be in a child's life.
You obviously, how old are your kids now?
Brooklyn is 9, my daughter's 7, Malachi is 16 months, and we got one more on short finals.
That's exciting. But you've always wanted a big family, eh?
Yes,
A lot of
obviously.
a lot of kids.
I've got two children with my previous wife, and now the second one with Geraldine. So I'm very fortunate and blessed. But 4's enough.
4 is enough.
4 is
But,
enough.
I mean, if you just look at the financial climate of the world.
Exactly. I don't want to be working till I'm 80.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, 2 kids in Joburg with you, obviously 2 kids in the Cape.
Yes.
How is that managing that dynamic of, because you were just recently there visiting, how is that for you? Because, I mean, in no way can it be easy.
Listen, I'm going to tell you honestly, it's good and it's bad. I'll tell you where it's bad. I miss my children. I miss them so much. When my kids want to be with me or my boy wants to come home with me, it hurts me that he can't come home with me. But it's good because me and my ex-wife have a great co-parenting relationship, and I'm doing it in the best interest of my children. They're thriving in Cape Town. It's a beautiful place there. And, she chose to go live in Cape Town. That's where she wants to live her life. And you can never hold a gun to someone's head. So it's about being mature and understanding, this is what she wants to do. She sees life and future for herself in Cape Town. She's the mother of my kids. So my kids will go with her. Obviously, my boy, he loves me and he wants to do so many things with me and things that I like to do. But, because we got such a great co-parenting relationship, I can go down to Cape Town at any given time. No issues. If the kids have school holidays, they're with me the entire holiday. If Gina travels overseas, she asks me, do you mind coming to stay with the kids? And it's not like there's no sour grapes. You know what I mean? I think I'm very fortunate, but I'm not going to say lucky because we worked hard to make sure that we are good co-parents. And I think that's the lesson. I think a lot of families are going through divorces. If you just put your children first, a divorce is never easy. It's never nice. But just always think of the kids. And I always try to maintain that. And kudos to her as well, because she also put the kids first.
And that's obviously, you mentioned you didn't really have a real father figure growing up. So you definitely obviously want to still maintain that.
Of course.
Within the realm of, the
Yeah, look, I had a
co-parenting.
father until I was 11 and he passed away. 12, sorry. He passed away. But what I'm saying is, like, a father figure in the important years of your life. So like the 13, 14, 15, 16, when you're going through that transitional phase, becoming a man, or what you think you are a man, you need a man in your life. And I think that's why I always be in my children's life. And, I try my best to be a good dad. I try my best to be present, in the opportunity that I've been given. So when it's an opportunity to come down to Cape Town, my ex-wife makes it happen. We make it happen to ensure that the kids have me and the kids have her. And at any given time, the kids can come to me. At any given time, the kids can go to her. If we're in school holidays or whatever it is. Never held a gun to her head, or she's never held a gun to my head and said, it's 5 o'clock, they must be back in my house, or I'm phoning them as per the divorce settlement at 5 p.m.'s call time. I call them 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 4 p.m., that's just how it needs to be and how it is, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, and I think we have this, sometimes at certain stage in our lives, we have this perspective that life is supposed to be easy. Things are supposed to go our way. Things are supposed to, work out to a certain plan that you set for it. And why? Who are you to have life work out perfectly for you?
Exactly.
Life throws you curveballs. Life is a tough opponent every single day. And I think as humans, we just need to understand that, life isn't always going to go our way. Life cannot we cannot expect our lives to have a particular outcome. It's completely random. You know, it's completely, there is no control that you can have over it. You know,
Exactly.
all you can control is now how you handle the relationship with her and with the kids, and how you conduct yourself, and you make the best out of a situation that you don't really have. I mean, you, as you mentioned, you can't force her to stay in Joburg.
No.
If she wants to go to Cape Town, all you can do is adapt and, you know,
Yeah.
try create the best environment.
And to be fair, she's given me, you know, a lot of hope to move to Cape Town. You know, obviously, now can I move to Cape Town? Yes, I could. But there's a lot that happens for me in Joburg. So she's understanding that my life right now is in Johannesburg. And that's where it's difficult, because I can up and go to Cape Town. But also I'm the type of person, I want to up and go at the right time. You know, and I don't think it's the right time. But, you know, back to what you said, you can only deal with what you can control. There's so many variables that are out of your control. And the minute you sit down and just understand that and realize there's certain things you cannot control, it will put you at peace and put you at ease, especially for those people who have anxiety and all that stuff. Certain things you can control, but there's certain things you can't control. And the sooner you understand that and realize that, the better you are as a human being and as a person.
Absolutely. Let's go back to that Fury camp that you went to.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about, you know, some stories, your adventure there. You know, how was
Saudi.
that? Sorry?
The camp was in Saudi.
Saudi, okay.
Yeah, it was mad.
So did you just get a call one day, or how did it work?
So obviously, you know, being in the boxing world and the high level, the everyone knows everyone at the top. So Tyson obviously knew about me. You know, he knew that I won the Bridgerweight belt. He knew that I was a cruiserweight champion and that I'm a southpaw like Alexander Usyk. So there was talks about me coming to camp with him, and then I got reached out, but they reached out to me through his masseuse actually, and then he put me in touch with Tyson's manager, and they said they want to bring you in for sparring. I said no problem. You know, obviously I'd fought Daniel Dubois the year before, but you now get the opportunity to go work with the best in the world. You know what I mean? So I said, I'll be there. I didn't ask how much you're paying me. I didn't ask. I said, book my tickets. They sent us, me and Peter, he has your 2 business class tickets. Off to the villa we went in Saudi. So it was unreal because it brought a lot of opportunity for me. You know, obviously I fought in March in Saudi Arabia on the Kingdom of Chaos card, the Joshua Ngannou card. I fought on that show. So by going to Saudi and being in Tyson's camp, I knew in the back of my mind, I said, I'm going to get opportunity out of this. They're going to see who I am. They're going to see what I'm about. They're going to see this strong fucking South African, and they're going to give me opportunity. That was my mindset. And that's what I did. I went to Saudi Arabia with the plan, yes, to help Tyson Fury, and yes, to rub shoulders with the best. But I said, I will get on a Riyadh season card. And I did.
So how did that sparring, you know, training work?
So basically, Tyson Fury spars 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah, he spars quite a bit. Went to every conditioning session with him at the gym with his conditioning coach. And then when it was time to spar, make myself available. You're a sparring partner. And it was myself, a guy called Moses Itama. He's a very good up-and-coming heavyweight. And another guy called Alex Barreri. And then Jai Apatai, the cruiserweight world champion, came into camp for a couple of days too. So we would spar like that. You know, one day I did 8 rounds, one day I did 4 rounds. So it varies. And yeah, the work is real. You know, you're in there with the best. I'm in there to show him I'm a strong man. I can also, you know, apply my trade and show you my skills in the ring, and vice versa. Tyson Fury is a very good boxer. He's got a great understanding for distance control and very, very good timing and a good eye. So somebody asked me, how do you explain it? I said, well, put it this way. If you give him that time to think, you're in shit. If you're on him and working Tyson and doing your thing, he's got to think. The minute you take your foot off the gas, he's on you. And that's how good he is. And now how can you continuously work for 12 rounds? That's very hard, right? You're going to have to take your foot off the gas, have a breather, have a moment to move, have a moment to think. And it's in those moments where he capitalizes.
So then what did you learn in terms of your own fighting to adapt within those moments?
Yeah, to adapt against a higher level guy. He's a high level fighter. You know, I always tell people you get elite level fighters, and then you get international fighters, and then you get domestic, your local guys here. He's an elite level fighter, so you have to be on your game. If you half off your game, there's no place for you in there.
How much improvement do you think you benefited from, being
I
exposed
think we
to those
both
guys?
benefited. I think we both. He saw explosive, strong. They called me the white rhino because I just come forward, in not obviously as a punching bag, but my aggressive style. Something that they were happy to see. I mean, Spencer's manager says, "You're the white rhino, and you're gonna fight in the Riyadh season card against Hooney because of the based around the way I sparred. So I got to fight for you." So it shows you, South Africans, we're resilient. We're very resilient, and I think we get overlooked a lot. But it's just about opportunity and how you grab it.
Which you did.
I
and
tried
now
to,
it's,
for sure.
assuming it's now also obviously opened some more doors.
Of course, we got the Lawrence Okoli, the WBC's mandated the Lawrence Okoli fight at Bridgerweight now. So that's why I'm that plug between Bridgerweight and heavyweight. I can dabble between the two. There's always more sting in it when the fight's at Bridgerweight against someone who's good. Lawrence Okoli is very good. Former cruiserweight world champion. We were meant to fight at cruiserweight. The fight never materialized. We're friends out of the ring. And now we're going to fight for the Bridgerweight world title. That's what they're just busy finalizing now on where or when. It's either the UK or Saudi. The landscape's forever changing. And I know that term, I use that term a lot, but it's the truth. With boxing at the highest level, you just never know. 1 minute you're headlining in the UK, the next minute you hear it might be on a Saudi card. It's because obviously since His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh's come into boxing and combat sports, he's done a good shuffle.
Yeah.
So it's moving, and it's moving at a rapid pace in many, many directions.
You met Ryan Garcia when you were there, and then he had he made it look like he was crazy, and then he had his fight, he won, but then it turns out he looked like he was still crazy. How was it meeting the guy?
He's different. Let's put it that way. But he made a lot of time. Real recognizes real. He obviously knows me from the boxing world, and we spent a bit of time together and we had a good chat. He's different. He's a personality. He can fight. Say what you want about him.
There's no taking away his...
He can fight, and he's explosive. He's fast. He's quick. And he's a different character. Everyone's got their problems and it's got the issues that they're dealing with. So I've never been one to point fingers and say he's this and he's that. Everyone deals with the issues differently. I got issues. He's got issues. We all got something that we're dealing with. So how he deals with it is his choice.
And I mean, what he was putting on social media definitely promoted that fight.
Of course.
Without a doubt.
We all tuned in. We all wanted to see. And, people can say what they want. That he was taking Austrian, it's like
I saw they took away the win and everything.
He got tested positive for a banned substance called Austrian or something. It's like a steroid. It's like a steroid. And he came out, he said it was contaminated. Well, whatever it was, that is not why he beat Devin Haney. He beat Devin Haney because Devin Haney couldn't see the left hook. Simple as that. And so he's a phenomenal athlete. They can take away from his victory because he was found with a positive substance within his system, whether it was intentional or not, who knows. But at the end of the day, he's a good fighter, and he's dealing with a lot. So I don't knock anybody. It was cool to meet him. He's a big public figure in the boxing space.
And being a big public figure and being, a lot of people would call him an influencer boxer. Not that he hasn't done really well in his fights, but that's what people call him online, at least.
Yeah.
So I think that also adds fuel to the fire of the drama that he deals with. I mean, you've seen people talk badly about you. You've heard about people talk badly about you. Yeah. And then now when you got millions and millions of followers, you're constantly getting people comment how bad your fight was, how you should have done this. And I mean, it's probably just fat people sitting on the couch who don't even know anything about boxing, who don't know how to fight, then telling Ryan that he's crazy or that he can't box properly or that he can't do X, Y, and Z. That definitely adds fuel to the fire of, having it, because he's young. It's difficult to navigate that space when you're at such a high level with that amount of followers.
Listen, the key word is the criticism, and how do we deal with it? So Criticize, yes, we've all been criticized. Obviously, been in a professional sport on public platforms, you get criticized a lot more than the normal person. But we got to say to ourselves, it's criticism. Do we take it? Maybe, maybe not. Should we take it? Maybe, maybe not. But at the end of the day, you got to look at the criticism you're getting and let it make you better. Now, a lot of people are cliche and they say, use it to fuel you. What are you using to fuel you? If a guy tells you shit and you feel that you are shit, you shit. Take out of the criticism, look at what they're criticizing you about, and go get better. Go get better. There's a reason. Sometimes it's not warranted. Sometimes it's hate. Sometimes it's pure jealousy. But when there's genuine criticism, take something out of it and go make yourself better.
Yeah, I think it's the ability to lower your ego a little bit and be like, maybe this is valid.
Of course. I'm big like that. I read a lot of shit and I think to myself, this guy's a pawpaw. But then there's some things I read and I go, valid point. Maybe I should do more with my feet. Maybe I should do more with this. Remember, if it's not personal and it's legit criticism, do something about it. I'm not saying take it on the chin and be like, well, it's cool, criticize me. I'm not saying don't take it and be soft. What I'm saying is dissect it. Dissect the criticism you're getting. Be a real man and dissect the criticism you're getting and make yourself better. Not for other people. Not for because Jesse told me to tie my shoelaces this way. Take the criticism, see if it can make you a better athlete, make you a better fighter, make you a better human, and fix it. I'm big on that. Put your ego aside, like you said. Put your ego in your pocket, and just understand that some of the criticism's there for a reason. Some of it's nonsense. Some of it's hate. Don't listen to that. But listen to the legit criticism and make yourself better.
Because I think what proves your character is then afterwards how you respond. Then you see the true character of the people when the world can be against you and you don't allow it to affect you. You allow it to help you grow, help you move forward.
Now, here's another thing. So we talk about criticism and we go, how does it make you better? Well, I'll tell you what, if we looking to evolve, so no matter you take any type of person, a successful businessman, a successful sportsman, a rich businessman, a rich sportsman, and you go, is he complacent? Is there no room for improvement? Out of both those guys, I bet you they both want to improve because complacency is what makes you obsolete. I'm telling you, that's what makes you become non-existent. No one will care about you anymore. When you think you can't be better, you can't be a better person, you can't be a better athlete. That's what happens. And that's where the criticism, you got to use it for you. Look at it, dissect it and say, right, I want to become a better person, a better athlete, a better human, make the necessary changes in your life and forever keep growing. The minute you think you can't grow, the minute you think you're too good, the minute you think you can't learn, become obsolete. Facts.
And that's also the more I'm assuming that you've also tried to grow as a person, your boxing has improved.
Of course, because you can sit down and you can be honest with yourself. You're not delusional and you're not deluded by what people tell you. You can be honest. And yes, we know what we've achieved, and I'm very well aware of what I've achieved and how I handle myself and what I do when the lights are on and when the cameras are rolling and when we're preparing and sparring. I know what I can do and I know what I've done, but I also sit down and say, how can I be better? When you go up against the best and you come up short or you have a hard spar and you're not at your best, say, not good enough. But a guy with the ego would be like, well, I'm not good enough because I ran this morning or because I had a bad night's sleep. No, you weren't good enough today. You got your pipes clean because you just weren't good enough. Become better and go do more. The same as life, right?
Yeah.
Go do more.
So in terms of doing more, because you can't be fighting constantly, 4 or 5 fights a year. So you obviously have a business mind as well, and you have interest in certain businesses, and you have, I mean, you got your pilot license, which is something very few. I
Yeah.
mean, there's probably, I would say maybe there's less pilots than doctors. I don't know.
Probably, of course. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
So it's not something that.
We'd have to look at that stat, but it
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
makes,
just thinking
it makes sense.
Yeah,
It does make sense. It does make sense.
because there's a lot more hospitals, at least, than even airports. If you look at the numbers, so maybe it's true.
Maybe helicopter pilots.
Yeah, helicopter, definitely. So what got you? Because we did discuss, that you just you're a lifelong learner, but why helicopter specifically?
Because it's hard. It's hard. I mean, you becoming a pilot and learning how to fly, that's one thing. But doing the exams, doing the time, learning from others, that's the other thing. And I did it because I'm goal driven, and I wanted to become a pilot, and I'm not done yet. I still got to finish my commercial. I've got a couple of exams to go. In terms of hours, I'm good with that. But I'm goal driven. But that's all part of being the hybrid Kevin Lorena. And like hybrid, I consider you a hybrid athlete in terms of how you train, the different types of workouts you do to drive yourself. And that's why I watch your podcast. You said, why would I want to come on the show? I said, because I watch what you do. I enjoy watching what you do. You challenge yourself. And I'm the same. I challenge myself. So, when it's all said and done, I can't box forever. I mean, it's clear, a lot of people overstay their welcome in the sport. But when the carpets are swept from underneath me, I'll be okay. There's more to Kevin than just boxing. Kevin isn't boxing. I do boxing. You know what I mean?
Have you, because maybe bodybuilding is different than boxing. Like, I definitely look down more on bodybuilding than boxing.
Okay.
But have you ever struggled with not wanting to be identified as just a boxer?
No, because it's been very good to me. Boxing.
Well, because you're at the top level, so I guess, yeah.
Boxing's afforded me a lot of opportunities, networking opportunities, the people I've met, and it's all come through the springboard and the platform of boxing. Yes, not anybody, maybe, and anybody can turn pro if they half decent, but what they make of it, how many have made something of it? We have to ask ourselves that. So I don't look back and say, I just don't want to be thought of as the boxer, but I kind of appreciate that because people go, Kevin Lorena, the boxer. Yes, it's cool. I'm cool with that. Some people even call me, hey, boxer. It's cool. Boxing's been so good to me. You can call me what you want. I've made a lot of connections. I made a lot of lifelong friends. I've gained a lot out of the sport of boxing within the ropes and also out of the ropes in terms of the network and the people that I've met and the business opportunities that I've been given. And that's put me in this position. The opportunity to become a pilot, the opportunity to get involved in the private security industry in a tactical emergency medicine setting. It's given me so much opportunity, but it's thanks to boxing that those people recognize me. They knew me through boxing, and it gave me leverage to get into those fields at a very nice high level too. So I'm grateful for boxing. I'm okay to be identified as the boxer. That is fine. But as time goes on, people will realize, and I think when people meet me, they realize there's more to Kevin than just throwing a good 1-2 and getting out of the way of punches.
You mentioned, the paramedic stuff. You mentioned the security?
Private security.
Yeah. So what do you do there? How does
Listen,
that work?
I've always been passionate about private security. Before boxing was good to me. I mean, the first kind of security work that I did, I worked as a bouncer at a club. I worked at a club called Hooters for George Smith. He did the security there in 2010, 11, 12. And then I worked at a club called the VIP Room and Taboo in Santon for Chris Kotrulis. I was his doorman, and that was security, right? I wouldn't like to say I was a bouncer, but I needed to earn a living, and that's what I did. And that put me in touch with the right people to go on and do security courses and to do specialized training, because I always had a passion for it in close protection work and in VIP and executive protection. And I always saw myself getting involved in that industry. And I used the EMS by getting an AEA, a qualification through Netcare College, through Emergimed, to amalgamate the two together, to become a better human, to learn more. But then outside of the learning more, there's the business aspect. Now you can bring two fields together to make a very strong team and a strong consultancy. And that's what we have. We've got a strong team behind us, affiliated to very, very good, powerful operators who are ex-police now in the private sector. And that's how we grow and how we grow the platform and the footprint. So yeah, I think it's always something I've been passionate about, but it's something that I also had to do in the beginning of my adulthood, from the age of 18, because I had to earn a living. Now, I must be honest, Jess, never came from any privilege, man. My mom was a single mom. Until the day she died, she worked. And she had to put me through school and bring me up. So I was handed nothing in life. Everything that I have today was through hard work, divine intervention, and also the opportunity from others, giving me the opportunity. So somebody can lead you to the water, but I chose to drink, and I watered the grass. I watered the grass with the opportunity that I was given.
Do you think, and it's always fascinating because people that come from privilege can become successful, people that have, abject poverty can become successful. And it's all person's dependent,
Yeah.
The driving force. But do you think because let's say your genetics were the same.
Okay.
Do you think now if you were influenced by maybe parents that were giving you a lot, do you think you would have been as motivated?
It's hard to say, but
knowing your personality, obviously your personality would be different.
There's a lot of things that I think had I been given some stuff or given the opportunity as a youngster, I could have maybe done more with my life. But I'm just a big critic on myself, I'm a big person that looks and thinks that I can do more and always achieve more. So maybe if I was given opportunity, and given something, I would have done more with it. But hey, I've been given the opportunity I've been given with what I've been dealt with, and I've taken that opportunity. So that's just me as an individual. So maybe if my parents were wealthy or they were privileged, would I have still been successful? Possibly yes. Maybe just in a different field. Who knows? In a different field, not such a hard walk. Maybe the walk wouldn't have been as hard. But I don't think it. I have a lot of friends who have wealthy parents, and they've brought up good, successful men. So I think it's all different. You do get some guys that have privilege and are just soft and not motivated, but we don't associate ourselves with those people, do we? We associate ourselves with people who inspire you. The conversation at the table must inspire me.
How was it for you eliminating those people from your life that just took energy from you?
Yeah, if I look at it, I'm not friends with anybody that I was mates with at school, really. When I say friends, I don't hang out with them on the weekend. I don't get together with them. We're all just very different. Now, I always chose to hang out with people who are older than me, who knew more than me, who had good networks, who I could learn from. I think there was a saying, I watched it I think I saw the reel on Instagram or something like that. And it was, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Now, let that sink in. Like, if your friends aren't going to make you who you are, but if you're hanging out with fucking bums, people that bring you down, people that aren't going to put you in your place and tell you the truth when you're wrong, and sit you down and say, my buddy, you're wrong. Those aren't your friends. They're not going to bring any value to your life.
I saw a quote today where it was, those friends that allow you to sit and do nothing, those friends that allow you and don't push you, the friends that just let you be, don't love you as much as the friends that are questioning your decisions.
Exactly.
That are looking at you and be like, you could actually do more. The people and the friends that are encouraging you to go put yourself in an uncomfortable position, those are the ones that actually care for you more. The ones that are maybe saying, are you sure this girl's the right girl for you, in a context of, growth, are actually more there for you than the people that are just like, no, it's their life. Let them be soft. Let them be weak. Let them, just stay in the little small place that they are now. I want friends. Everyone wants friends that sometimes, and it's tough, you hear things that it's like, yo, that's a little bit difficult to hear, but that's the only way to grow. The only way to grow is to have those people around you that are questioning your decisions in a constructive manner because the actual intention is for growth.
And have those people close to you. Have those ones close to you. The ones that are going to help you grow. The honest ones will help you grow. That's what I'm saying. Like, just the table you sit around, be meaningful and mindful of who occupies those seats. Always.
So now, are you gonna bring in the helicopter to this business? The flights.
Look, I mean, it's essentially yes. The network is there. When you're involved in the private security industry, you're dealing with a lot of high net worth individuals. If they need a helicopter, can I arrange it? Most definitely. I just can't fly them from a commercial point of view, because in order to fly somebody and be remunerated, you need to be a commercial pilot. So I'm a private pilot, got a license, but not a commercial license. But there's ways to plug into the network. If people need helicopters, of course, I know people. I know the right people. I know the right people, and that's what it's about. The network that I've been given from boxing, I can put the right people in front of you. And that's where I'm grateful. So people say the box, I say, you can call me that. It's helped me a lot. Yes, I've made it help me because people have bought into Kevin Lerena, the fighter, but it's also afforded me opportunity outside of the square circle.
But I think also because of the way you've conducted yourself, because of your social media, they see you as obviously the fighter, the family man, the pilot, the businessman, the man who knows how to handle guns. Yeah. So you built this entire persona around, the business essentially, and you've built a business for yourself, for who you are.
For sure. And built the persona is one thing, but walking the walk. It's not a facade. It's not make believe. I walk in the walk. I'll say it to anybody. When it comes to flying helicopters, I'm behind the stick. I can fly a machine. When it comes to getting in the ring and fighting, I step in there. You tell me I'm fighting on the States, I'll show up. You make sure you show up. When it comes to doing a private security operation or a high-risk job, I'm there. I have no issue being there in that vehicle. When it comes to getting on the road and going out there on the field, I've seen it all. I'm there.
Yeah.
There's no facade. There's persona. There's the image of Kevin Lerena as a whole, but I'm walking the walk.
But you are genuinely the image.
Yeah, I'm walking the walk because I'm passionate about it. There's nothing I can't. If you had to tell me now, what's the worst thing you've seen in the private security sector or in the medical field? I can't even tell you because there's so much. I mean, I can't dissect it. If people can tell you some of the things they've seen, they don't do it enough. See, it's a lot. Too much. Yeah.
In terms of the psychology of, fighting, did it help at all being exposed to obviously going on the scene, seeing bodies, seeing, injuries? Had it at all being in the combat space, prepared you at all? Because I mean, obviously seeing someone with a blue eye or bloody nose is completely different.
Of course. Being a combat athlete and being a fighter, it's unique. I mean, two different fields. You had a white collar fight, right? But you knew the dates of your fights and you knew the day you had to rock up and fight. It's a bit nerve wracking. Now, when you've done this over 30, 34 times as a professional, if you had to give me a call and say, hey, this guy wants to fight you at the gym, will you be there? I'll show up. I will show up. That's what I do. I'm trained to do that. And it does help you in the field, especially as a medic and dealing with it, to have the switch on and off. They're two different things. They can be both very draining. Don't get me wrong. You'd become very desensitized. You almost start to extinguish the emotion you feel. It's not normal to feel these things, but you become desensitized in a sense of the word, that you can compartmentalize what you deal with and how you deal with it. Like I said, a lot of people, I know a lot of operators and guys that I worked alongside that have been doing it a lot longer than me. We're talking over 2 decades, even a decade longer than me. And we talk about things, but the older guys deal with things a lot better. And I know I sound like I'm gunning for the younger ones and saying they're a bit soft, But I think they take it a lot harder. And you do need to decompress. You do need to talk to people, but everyone deals with things differently. Like I can genuinely tell you, out of all the shit that I've seen, good, bad, heinous things, trauma, bludgeoning stuff, the worst of the worst. If you can think of it, ask me something and I'll tell you if I've seen it. And it's 90% yes, I have. I've never gone to see a professional to discuss or to decompress. But I've spoken to my mates. I deal with things differently. I've spoken to my missus. There might have been a fucked up call that I've done, and I'll speak to someone about it in a conversation like this. But that's decompressing.
I completely
I've never
agree.
seen a professional though.
Yeah.
So if someone says, have you gone to a trauma counselor? No, I haven't. That's not the way I deal with things. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. I have a different, waking up in the morning, hitting the road, or getting to the gym and smashing the bag for an hour. Well, that's maybe my way of decompressing because I'm okay. Listen, a lot of people might not think I'm hundreds, but I feel like I'm able to go through my day-to-day life. I'm happy. I love what I do. I'm not, yes, we're all going to be affected by what we see and what we do and how we do it, but I don't think it shows, and if it does, hopefully those honest friends that we spoke about will tell me.
Yeah, and being able to have those tough conversations with those friends.
Exactly.
And saying, I saw X, Y, and Z. I was exposed to this.
It's not normal, bro. It's fucked up, man.
It is.
I'm telling you.
I can't even, I know I do not have the stomach for it.
Yeah.
And people are different.
Everyone's
people
different.
are different, and people have different abilities to handle, different amounts of stress. And for me, I just know, that's exactly why I didn't continue the boxing. It's just because it just wasn't me.
Of course.
I hated every single second inside that ring, but I had to do it because I set a goal of doing it. It was genuinely the most difficult thing I've done in my entire life.
It challenged you, right?
Yeah.
But after you did it, didn't you feel like you had to dig deep and you found something within yourself that you didn't think you could do?
That's exactly why I continued, because I thought I'm soft if I don't continue with this. That's first sparring session where Keaton tore my septum in my nose or whatever. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And even just having to punch someone, for me, it was just so against who I am as a person.
Exactly.
So that I had to continue through it, because if I gave in, if I stopped, I would have just been weak. I would have given into the fear or given into, the comfort of staying the same. And I had to push through and I had to continue. And I didn't think, okay, well, that means now I have to do 3 fights. It was, you've set a goal of a fight.
You've done it.
Just
good for you.
do the fight.
100%.
And I think that's what you do need to expose yourself to, is uncomfortable situations, even if you hate it.
Exactly.
Especially if you hate it.
Get yourself in uncomfortable positions, and deal with it. Being on the road or being a private security operator, if you do the job and you do it enough, you're going to get yourself into uncomfortable situations. Primary healthcare, every primary call where there's a critical patient is uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable, it's not a big call. It's not normal to have to know that you have the ability to save that person's life, and people who are higher qualified than you to save that person's life. There's a chain of command, and if you use that chain and you use it well, you can make a difference. But someone else's lives in your hands, it's uncomfortable. There's almost like a panic calmly. That's what I say. It's not normal. Oh, you can ask me now. Think about 3 things that in your mind are fucked up. 3 things. Remember I said maybe 90%. I'll tell you if I've seen it or not. You can ask me 3 things. I'll tell you yes, I've seen it.
I don't want to say, because then you'll think you're like, Jesse's got a messed up mind.
Go for it. This is your podcast,
it's going to be
bro.
something about like a baby or something.
Go for it.
Well, okay.
Baby, you said the word baby.
Yeah, you've definitely seen like maybe an accident where like a whole family was
mangled.
Yeah.
Of course, yes. Whole family mangled. Seen accidents where everyone's dead besides the child. Seen an accident where the child's alive, mom and dad are dead.
How has that influenced life going forward, and just seeing how
makes
quick
me appreciate, bro, because you literally have to appreciate life every single day. And it's a saying where people go, you know, you only live once, you only die once, live every day. But truthfully, you really do only die once. And it can be taken away from you. The wind can be knocked out of your cells so quickly. And I wouldn't say I appreciate scenes like that, because there's nothing nice about a scene like that. There's nothing nice about seeing someone else's world being turned upside down. When the father arrives on scene and the mom and the child are no longer, you see a grown man's life turned upside down. There's nothing nice about that. But if you take the positives, you say, I appreciate my little family. I appreciate my friends. I appreciate my loved ones. I appreciate that I'm able to do this to make a difference. That's the kind of things you have to take out of it, you know? And I mean, we're not here to tell war stories. We're not here to say what we've experienced, but the operators, if you know, you know. They know. They know what we deal with, and they know what they deal with and how we deal with it. And I think, just appreciation. I see life from a different perspective. That's what I'm saying. You have this figure of being a professional fighter and being at the highest level and fought at the highest level, won some bouts, lost some fights. But yes, that's all good and well. But teaches you stuff, yes. Helps you grow the network, yes. You know, grow as a human being, yes. But perspective of life is the things that I'm doing on the road, the stuff that I do out there. That's perspective. That's true for me, true perspective. And it's not for everyone. No, I'm not going to tell anybody, get out there, get a paramedic qualification, or get out there and become a private security industry operator, go learn from the top guys, the deployed concept guys, the Richie Kwans, all those guys who offer phenomenal courses, who walk the walk. I'm not saying go be a hard man. What I am saying is look at life from a different perspective and see what your different perspective is and appreciate your life.
Yeah, and I think people, I read a quote where it was 70% of people don't even think about death within a year. And I think it's just avoidance, because they don't want to accept the reality that life can end like this. But for me, at least, the fact and the reality that life is so short actually makes things better for me, because the fact that I could die tomorrow, the fact that my mom on the way home from work today can have a car accident and pass away, means, okay, Jesse, don't be angry at your mom. Okay, Jesse, you like that girl. Tell her. Life is so short. Act on the things that
Just act
in the life that you want to have.
Act on the now.
Because as you've seen, almost every day, people's lives are ripped from them.
Exactly. You've had Richie Kwan on your show, right? Now, Richie's I find him a fascinating human being. I'll tell you why. Besides the whole martial arts and how good he is in the MMA circle as a fighting coach, but also his firearm proficiency, and he's very well trained. You know, he's a badass guy. Richie's a fucking badass guy. But I respect the fact that when I was on the road, I think it was 2017, 2018, Richie was reaching out and he wanted to work on the road, and he came on the car a couple of shifts. But look how much he's done now. You know, I think he's deep in there with the deployed concept guys. You know, he knows so much about a tactical emergency medicine, the TEMS. You know, he knows so much about a prolonged field care, tactical trauma, life support, all that kind of stuff, because that's how he bettered himself. At the time when I thought, you know, in South Africa, it's very hard if you don't go to college or get a higher certificate or diploma or degree. But he went and made it happen. And that for me was cool, because I saw this guy was passionate. When I saw him on my car, yes, I knew Richie can fight. Richie is good with firearms and knives and weapon training, and he can handle himself. But I realized he had such a passion for the EMS side of things, the saving a life in a trauma or combat zone, and he's gone to do stuff with that. So I respect that. And that's why back to what you alluding to, your first question, why did I want to come back on this podcast? Why not? You've had cool people. I listened to your podcast. You've had some really cool people. You've had some people who are not my cup of tea. But as a whole, I enjoy the conversation you've had with people. And it's always good to come back and to talk about stuff like that.
Well, Kev, I appreciate you coming back on now.
Pleasure, bro.
We're just out of time, and that was fantastic. I appreciate that.
Pleasure, brother.
And thanks, guys, for watching. Cheers.